Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Grand Millstone and the rule well. And peace, salutations to the elect of Israel. To you all, I say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. And I came across an interesting article, not this one, but in this article, this guy was talking about another woman and her and how she was breaking down, or how she was explaining really a correlation of depression and intelligence, right? And then one of the things she mentioned, which I'm gonna touch on, Lord willing, is how really your ability to verbalize an experience into words, it kind of kills the power or the awesomeness of that experience, right? So basically, in the best way I could describe it, it's like my friends in the world say this all the time. Well, not all the time, but I heard them say this before. It was like, oh yeah, Mayak Allah. This is the brother Mayak Allah from GMS West Palm Beach, Slovakia. Oh yeah, Mayak Allah, you gotta experience having your first seed. You gotta experience having your first seed. And then I never asked, what's it like, because it's something that I do want to experience. But they always say, oh, I really can't describe it. Really, and that's the spirit, because if you were able to put it into words, you will kind of kill the experience, right? So it led me to thinking about how high intelligence often leads to depression. And this article says, bad news for the highly intelligent. Superior IQs are associated with mental and physical disorders, the research suggests, right? Because people with high IQs, what do? They tend to read more, they tend to study more. And what does the scripture say about, overstudying, man? Ecclesiastes 12:12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. And to admonish something means to warn. Of making many books, there is no end. And much study is a weariness of the flesh, right? So if you're constantly learning, reading this, reading that, calculus, philosophy, all this and all this stuff, if you're constantly, because life, you do have to balance it out. You do have to take rest. But if you're constantly studying, it's a weariness of the flesh. And demons attack you when your flesh is weary, because that's when it's easier for them to conquer you, man. That's why the demons and Satan, they try to tempt Yahushai after he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. Scripture says, for he had hungered, right? So his flesh was weary, so they thought they had the one up on him, man. But, through the spirit, they knew who they were dealing with. But, hey, so when your flesh is weary, it makes it easier for demons to hop on you. And things like depression, anxiety, what are some of the bipolar, social and obsessive compulsive attention deficit, ADHD, autism, these are spirits, these are demons too, man. All right, so these are demons and wicked spirits that attack people too, that people need to be healed from. But it's easier to attack you when your flesh is weary. This is why the scripture talks about how when you increase in wisdom, you increase in let me get it real quick. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 18. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Right? If you increase knowledge, you increase sorrow. That's why sometimes you see in the world, the people, oh my gosh, the people that could eloquently verbalize things or perfectly express how they're feeling, what they're thinking, right? A lot of those people, they be going through the heaviest burdens, the heaviest demons, right? Because again, when you verbalize something, it makes it not as impactful once you put words into it, man. Some things, are just, I can't put it into words. Things that are really, truly that amazing is like, oh, I can't put it into words, And that's the true way to describe something amazing. It's like in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 12. 2 Corinthians 12:1, it is not expedient for me doubtless to glory, I will come to visions and revelations of the Lord. I knew a man in Mashiach above 14 years ago, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth, such an one caught up to the third heaven. Right. So this vision was so realistic, intense, that, you know, it couldn't be told if it was a vision or if it was real, or if it was in the body or out of the body, man. He couldn't tell if it was an astral projection. He couldn't tell if it was a vision in the mind or if it was really there, right? It was that awesome, man, or that realistic. Let's see if I do it real quick. The water. 2 Corinthians 12:3. I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. The Most High knoweth, how that he was caught up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to utter. Right? Because he's seen glory. He's seen the glory, right? So if you seen the kingdom, if you seen the kingdom right now and you try to put it into words, you couldn't do it, because you couldn't do it justice, right? Because when you put it into words, it's like the telephone game. Once people hear words, the words changes over times and different meanings, and it doesn't hit the same way as you originally intended it to hit, right? And that's really the gift and curse of language, man. But we're about to experience something so great that Scripture says, I have not heard, Salakia, heard, or I have not seen nor ear heard, Salakia. But let me get that real quick in the book of Isaiah. Book of Isaiah, chapter 64, and verse 4. For since the beginning of the world, men have not seen, Salakia. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have the eye seen, O the Most High, besides thee, what he hath prepared for him that waiteth for him. Right? Because it's that glorious. You really can't put it into words. You can try. It's fun to imagine, but you cannot put it. You cannot do it justice. Your mind, your fleshly mind, cannot comprehend the greatness and the vastness of the glory, especially the greatness and the vastness of the glory of the third heaven, which is where the Most High dwells, man. Your mind can't, try to put that into words. There's no words possible that could describe it, right? That's why it said it was unlawful to utter, not meaning that it's against the law to try to describe it, but it's against the law. It's not against the law, but it's like you're doing it a disservice trying to describe it. It's that great. It's like, you know what? You just gotta see it for yourself. That's all I can say, because it's really nothing you can say, man. And this is the time that we're coming into, man. And it's a beautiful time, because we're at the end. This is the greatest time ever in human history to be alive. Today, right now, is the greatest time in human history to be alive, outside of the days that we're coming into, right? Today is greater than yesterday. It's greater than a week ago. It's greater than a year ago. It's greater than 5 years ago. It's greater than 10 years ago. It's greater than 20 years ago. It's because we're going day by day closer into the kingdom of heaven. All right. Let me jump over to the book of Ecclesiasticus. I thought it was a beautiful point how, really, when you try to describe something, no matter how, because why don't people use the same adjectives to describe everything, man? You could say, oh, my trip to Canada was amazing. Or you can say, oh, the food I had last night at this restaurant was amazing. You're using the same word to describe two totally different sensory experiences, man. But using the same adjective, you kind of kill the experience when you talk about it, man. People can't it's already dead. It doesn't hit the same anymore once you try to explain it. If something is truly that great, you can't put it into words, man. Because once you put it into words, it kind of ruins it. Sirach, or Ecclesiastes chapter 21 and verse 12. He that is not wise will not be taught, But there is a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness, right? Because the more you learn, the more eloquent you are, the better you could talk. Because really, people that talk really well, it's often related because they have a high intelligence, high IQs, right? There's multiple brothers in the camp that have eloquent speech, man. And it's like, how they're able to, talk mid-sentence. A random topic, too, is something that, it's not something that they scripted or planned to say. Random topic, random sentence, talk mid-sentence, get interrupted, and come back to it, and continue that same flow of consciousness, man. It takes wisdom to do that. That's of the spirit, man. Idiots can't do that. Idiots can ramble. An idiot can ramble and talk nonsense, but you understand if it's nonsense. When somebody's in the spirit, you know what's in the spirit, man. But once you increase the spirit, once you increase wisdom, you increase bitterness, man. All right? And that's the gift and curse, man. This is why Solomon was basically saying everything is vanity, man. Everything is vanity outside of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Because what? Riches is vanity, because when you perish, it goes to somebody else. Health is vanity, because everybody eventually waxes old and gets sick, because everybody's still in the flesh, right? If you have a bunch of unprofitable children, if you have a bunch of seeds and they're wicked, that's vanity, right? Your life is vanity, because you're born as a captivity. Everything is fucking vanity, man. Everything is vanity. This is why Solomon, was when he was saying that, basically, he was saying that from not like a cheerful state, but a more of a depressive state. I'm not saying Solomon was depressed, but hey, he was going through grief, man. Because it says, there is a wisdom which multiplies bitterness. And Solomon was one of the wisest people ever to walk the earth. So, he was catching grief and bitterness, man. Because when you know a lot, you go through a lot, man. But I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakagodash. Double honors to the elders. Oh, wait, Slakia, real quick in this article, because I pulled it up. I'm just going to mention this real quick. Bad news for the highly intelligent. Now, there are some bad news for people in the right tail of the IQ bell curve. In a study published in the journal Intelligence, Pitzer College researcher Ruth Kapartsky Amalek and her colleagues emailed a survey with questions about psychological and physiological disorders to members of Mensa, a high IQ society. Mensa requires that its members have an IQ in the top 2%. For the most intelligence tests, this corresponds to an IQ of about 132 or higher. The average IQ of the general population is 100. And it's lower than that now, man. All right, because if wickedness increases, that means folly is going to increase too. All right? And this was written in 2017, so 7 years ago. I would assume the average IQ is in the 90s or 80s now. The survey of Mensa highly intelligent members found that they were more likely to suffer from a range of serious disorders. All right, and that's because, again, with words of wisdom, it increases your grief, man. All right, but I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord, when this lesson was edifying, again, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakagodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone that rule well. And I want to give peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say shalom and a ball.